Good morning, lovely viewers, and you are all welcome to the talk show. I am Seraphine Anyomi. I'm your host for today. On my extreme left, we have Mr.
Someone Usu.
and my immediate left,
Miss Hannah Ini Muamensa.
and my extreme right.
Daniel Adam.
You are all welcome once again to this show today.
Thank you.
So, today we are going to talk about the thoughts that disappear and thoughts that survive. As we live our lives, there are many times we receive so many thoughts. But at the end of the day, it's not all these thoughts that are able to materialize. We leave some of them and then we continue with some, and some also become useful in our daily lives. Just as we listen to the lecture about the thoughts that disappear and thoughts that survive, we'll go into detail to discuss, and I'll talk a little about it and then we will proceed. So, as we listened to the lecture, it was about how seeds are able to grow to become plants and then they bear fruits. In the woman body, they produce about 500 eggs. But at the end of the day, it's not all these eggs that are able to be fertilized. Some of them, when they do not meet the sperm, they come out and they are aborted. And then so also in our lives, also we receive thoughts. About the monk story, there is these two monks who were crossing the river one time, and according to the customs, monks are not supposed to touch ladies or even have anything to do with them. But whilst they were crossing the river bank, there is this lady also following them. And then it was difficult for a lady to cross such a river, and the monk thought, let me give a helping hand onto this lady. So he decided to carry the lady on his back. And as they crossed the river, the lady said, thank you, and then the lady left. But whilst the lady left, the two monks were moving, and then the other monk who didn't even touch the lady at all started shouting from behind. Why did you touch the lady? Don't you know it is a taboo for monks to touch ladies? What if the neighboring people see that we have touched lady? What would they think of all monks? They would think that we are all bad and we are all just like you. Anyway, as he continued to speak, the monk who carried the lady really didn't express anything. He was just quiet. But continuously, the friend continued to insult and shout at him. And then he turned around and he asked him, my brother, I have let this woman down the riverbank. She's gone her way. I've let her out of my thoughts. Why is it that you are still holding on to her in your thoughts? Lovely viewers, even though it is the same situation, but the monk who carried this lady had already let go of her in his heart. But the other one, who seems to have nothing to do with her, rather had a lot of things to think about. Anyway, just like these two monks, we also receive so many thoughts. But at the end of the day, some surely are being aborted and others are being carried on to success. It's not only bad thoughts, but sometimes there are also good thoughts. Now, I would like to call on my special panel to elaborate more on the story from the lecture. To begin with, I'll call on Mr. Samuel to share his thoughts also on the lecture. Mr. Samuel, how was your thoughts, or how did you receive the lecture, and what would you like to share with us this morning?
Okay, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to share my thoughts on the story of the two monks. Okay, so on the story of the two monks, the monks were hit with a difficult situation. Why? Because in the olden days, the monks were taught not to mingle with ladies, either to touch them. And also, they also taught of doing good to people. And so, whilst traveling, when they came and met the woman at the river bank, it was a very difficult situation for them. Why? Because this lady also needed help to cross to the other bank, to the other side. And so, the other monk in his heart thought it wise. Yes, we are not supposed to help a lady, as in not touch a lady. But then we are also allowed to help. And so in this situation, what should I do? The very tough situation. One, for me not to touch a lady is also good because we are taught in that way. Two, for me to help the lady is also good because we are taught to help people. And so with these two thoughts, which one would he go for? Yes, he took a bold decision. Why wouldn't I help her? After all, we are also taught to help. And so, with this good mind and heart, he boldly went to the lady, carried her at his back, crossed the river, and then later, the lady was so much thankful. Why? Because she also did not expect such a kind from the monk. But then, she was able to reach her destination with a thankful heart and mind. She left them. But you know what happened next? The other monk, who in right mind thought it wise, no, we are taught not to touch or mingle with a lady. Also, we are taught to do good. But then we have to think twice. Even though we are taught to do good, but in this situation, it's a lady. And so I will stand firmly on what I've been taught. I'm not supposed to touch a lady. And so I wouldn't do that. And so when he saw his colleague doing that, he was troubled in his heart. Nah, my friend, you are wrong. You know, because he saw the lady, because she was very beautiful, and because you have a lustful heart, you decided to just show this fake kindness. And let me just give a helping hand to her. And because of that, she will not say anything. No, I know your heart. Yeah, I know you already. And so with this heart, he was so much trouble and decided to what? To blame his friend. And throughout the journey, he was trying to make his friend very guilty. Why? Because you did something which is wrong. But the truth of the matter is, the other friend which gave the helping hand from his heart had let go of the lady long time ago. But the one complaining was the one who had a lustful heart towards the woman. In his heart, wow, if I had the opportunity, why wouldn't I do that? But I'm not taught to do so, so I wouldn't do that. And so because of that, it was painful in his heart. This my friend, he thinks he knows everything. Even though we are taught not to do this, but he knows everything. And so he gave a helping hand. And so I believe that when the monk turned and talked to his friend, he said, my friend, why are you holding this in your heart? Truly, you are the one who is holding this lady in your heart. For me, I gave a very helpful hand, and that's all. And so I believe that we as human beings, as youth, most of the time we are also hit with such difficult situations in our life. And I believe that when such situation comes, we should think of the priority at hand and not think of other things that we are taught. But then we should also make it in our mind that when we met with such situations, we have to choose the one that will help the situation, but not the one that will rather make the situation worse. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Samuel, for such a great contribution. So, just like you explained, I hope we can all pick it up and relate it to our personal lives as well. So, to proceed, we'll call on Mr. Donyo to also share his thoughts on the lecture.
Yeah, I seriously agree with some assertions made by my colleague panelist, Mr. Samuel, um, and also some excerpt from the presentations we had about the monarch and also how seeds germinate, the turtle dove. And all this really give me some kind of clue to the thoughts that sometimes conceive and which ones really survives and to which extent some also do not survive. It's true to say that seeds germinate the same way we also conceive thoughts that germinate. There are some also that dies off. In my case, I had a similar scenario. In 2016, somewhere in 2016, I made up my mind to organize a conference for some people. And along the line in organizing this conference, I ran out of logistics. So thinking about how to, organize logistics for this conference, some brilliant ideas came to mind where I could get those logistics. So I decided to fall on those, ideas. But it turned out to be that the places where I had, hopes to get those logistics really turned their back, on my plight. So this really gave me serious pain in my heart. So with this, I decided to really revenge because I thought these people could help, but they ended up disappointing me. And above all, what really gave me pain was they didn't only disappoint me, but I became a laughing stock. So this really gave me serious pain in my heart. Now, this monk saw his colleague monk carrying a woman to cross the river. The river was deep, so the lady could not cross. This means that he had defiled all the monk rules just to help assist this very woman, not having at heart this woman at the end. So the difference between this guy, this monk, and then his colleague brother was because his colleague brother had this seed in his heart. He had this perception about this guy in his heart. Without expressing this, he preconceived the mind that his colleague brother had defiled all the rules. So this also gave him pain in his heart. But until he could speak up to his brother, knowing that his brother, though he had carried this woman, but did not have any conception or did not harbor any conception in his heart, he could let go of this thought eventually. After encountering this, having this encounter with the conference I really organized, the pain I had in my heart about, about the person who really turned his back on me really gave me the urge not to really talk to him or have anything to do with him. But one day I had another problem which I needed someone to talk to. And it was the same person I talked to. But the manner and approach to which this person dealt with the matter really gave me a different, perception about this person. So the hatred I had for him really did not last. It never survived because there was a pull factor that could let this thought go. So this thought eventually died off. It didn't live to survive. So there are thoughts we have, there are thoughts we conceive, yes. They either could survive or not survive. And when it survives, it also have, rippling implications on our lives. So from this scenario or from these stories we've heard, yes, we need to really analyze the kind of thoughts that we conceive. These thoughts could either lead us, into happiness. They could also lead us into sadness, depending on how we think about it or see it.
Okay, I would like to throw more light on the story of the sea turtle. So, as we heard from the lecture, we know that the turtle or the mother turtle lay most of its eggs, and not all these eggs are being hatched. Okay, and so if all these eggs are being hatched, they sometimes, as they journey to the ocean or to the seaside, most of them meet obstacles like the lizards and other reptiles, and they are being destroyed. Also, those who make it to the sea are also being eaten up by other predators, and so they are unable to survive even in the sea. And also, according to research, we know that a woman body produces or creates about 500 eggs. And according to research also, the male produces over 100 millions of sperms. So if all these eggs produced by the woman is being fertilized by the sperms, then I think the world would be too full and most of us wouldn't even have a place. Okay, so in life, comparing this story to our life, in life we have a whole lot of thoughts that comes in our heart, the world of our heart. Some are able to survive and some are not able to survive due to the conditions they find themselves in. Some can be good thoughts and some are bad. Sometimes the good thoughts survive and then the bad ones are unable to. Sometimes the bad ones survive and then the good ones are able to. Sometimes all the thoughts we receive they are good thoughts, but we do not know which one should come first, which one is the priority. Comparing this to my life, sometimes it got a point in time where I wanted to study IT and I had no laptop. Okay, but I had a counselor who counseled me. Though you want to do IT, you don't have a laptop and all that, why don't you serve as a volunteer to travel to another country to learn more about their life? And then with this, when you come back, I think you'll be more prepared, okay, to go into IT. Even though I didn't like the thought, but when I thought deeply about it, I thought it could help my life. Now, all these things are good. Learning the IT, it's good. As compared to the volunteerism, is also good, but which one should come first? And so sometimes when we have thoughts in our hearts and we are confused, which one should stay in our heart, which one is good, which one is not good, we can also consult other people and listen from my other panel members, listen from their point of view and their thoughts. You can see Mr. Donyon, he also had difficulty relating with the other person in life. But when he got to understand who really the person was, he could relate freely. So in life, we don't have everything. But when we consult the other people around us, then we can get to know their point of view about life and what to go about and how to go about it.
It's been amazing having you all on today's show, and I hope to meet you all next time on more amazing and interesting show on this very channel. Until we meet next time, it's bye-bye.